In the shadows of a small Pennsylvania town, a 13-year-old girl clutched a guitar, whispering melodies that would one day reshape the music industry forever. But this isn't just another rags to riches story. This is a real story of how Taylor Allison Swift didn't just conquer music. She rewrote the rules of power itself. What you're about to witness is a tale of betrayal, reinvention, and revenge served colder than winter. A story where every heartbreak became a weapon, every setback a setup for domination. Because behind the glittering facade of pop stardom lies something far more calculating, far more brilliant. They call her America's sweetheart. They thought they could control her narrative, own her art, silence her voice. They were wrong. Dead wrong. The Taylor Swift Chronicles. This is the untold story of how a country girl from Pennsylvania became the architect of her own empire and destroyed anyone who dared underestimate her. A story that proves that in the music industry, the most dangerous weapon isn't talent, it's patience. The Country Princess. December 13th, 1989. While most teenagers were worried about homework and crushes, Taylor Swift was plotting something bigger, much bigger. Born into privilege in West Reading, Pennsylvania, Taylor's story could have been simple, another rich kid with a hobby. But behind the sweet smile and golden curls, something was stirring. Something that would terrify industry veterans decades later. At 11, she was already performing at local events, studying the craft with an intensity that unnerved adults. But what the cameras didn't capture was the way she analyzed every performance, every reaction, every detail. This wasn't passion. This was scientific research. At 14, she delivered an ultimatum that would reshape her family's entire existence. Nashville or nothing. Her parents, seeing the fire in their daughter's eyes, made a choice that would change music history forever. They uprooted their lives, leaving behind comfort and security for the unknown. But what the media didn't show you was the cold calculation behind this move. While other young artists begged for breaks, Taylor was already building relationships, studying the industry's power structures, learning who held the real influence. This wasn't childhood dreams. This was strategic warfare. Her first album dropped in 2006. Songs about high school heartbreak and small-town dreams seemed innocent enough, just another teenage country singer trying to make it. But those who were paying attention noticed something different. The lyrics were surgical, precise, every word crafted to cut deep into the listener's soul and stay there. By 2008, one song would change everything. A track that would prove Taylor Swift wasn't just another country artist. She was a storyteller with the power to rewrite reality itself. And the music industry wasn't ready. The betrayal that changed everything. September 13th, 2009. The MTV Video Music Awards. Taylor Swift, just 19 years old, stepped onto that stage believing she was living her dream. She had no idea she was walking into an ambush that would forge her into something unstoppable. The category, Best Female Video. Her competition included seasoned veterans, pop royalty, and industry darlings. But when they called her name, something shifted in the universe. This small-town girl had just beaten some of the biggest names in music. As she took the microphone, her speech was humble, grateful, genuine. Everything the industry claimed to want from its young stars. But what happened next will reveal the industry's true nature and birth a monster they could never contain. I'm gonna let you finish, but those 6 words didn't just interrupt an acceptance speech. They shattered a young woman's trust in the world. But what happened next in that moment of humiliation will reveal the true Taylor Swift. While cameras captured her tears, what they didn't capture was the steel forming in her spine. Behind those wounded eyes, something was calculating. Every face in that audience that stayed silent, every industry executive who failed to defend her, every moment of that humiliation was being cataloged, stored, weaponized. The world saw a victim. But victims don't methodically plan revenge that takes over a decade to fully execute. Because this wasn't just public humiliation. This was her origin story. The moment when Taylor Swift realized that in this industry, you either fight back or you disappear. But behind the scenes, something was brewing. Something that would take years to fully unleash. Because Taylor Swift doesn't just get mad, she gets methodical. 2010 to 2014. The world thought they knew Taylor Swift, America's sweetheart, the girl next door with a guitar and a broken heart. They were about to discover how catastrophically wrong they were. Her third album arrived like a thunderclap. Entirely self-written, it was a masterclass in artistic revenge disguised as vulnerability. Songs that seemed like confessions were actually calculated strikes against everyone who had wronged her. The industry began to realize they weren't dealing with a naive country girl. They were facing a strategic mastermind. Then came 2012. The world wasn't prepared for Red. This wasn't just an album title. It was a declaration of war. Gone were the country curls and sundresses. In their place stood someone harder, sharper, more dangerous. The lyrics grew more complex, the sounds more experimental, the emotions more raw and unfiltered. But what the media didn't show you was the methodical planning behind every choice. The collaborations with rock producers, the experimentation with electronic sounds, the deliberate blurring of genre lines. This wasn't artistic evolution. It was calculated market disruption. Then came 2014. 1989 didn't just drop. It detonated like a nuclear bomb on the music industry. The girl who built her career on country storytelling had just delivered the purest, most infectious pop album in decades. Critics called it a risk. Industry veterans called it career suicide. Taylor called it inevitable. The numbers don't lie. This wasn't just commercial success. This was cultural domination. Every song became a phenomenon. Every music video redefined visual storytelling. Every performance reminded the world that they were witnessing something unprecedented. But what the media didn't show you was the strategy behind the transformation. Every interview, every photo shoot, every public appearance was designed to support one narrative. Taylor Swift was no longer asking for permission. She was taking what was hers. And if you stood in her way, you would be moved. If you're still watching, you already know this isn't just a story, it's a transformation. Tap that subscribe button to stay on the journey. Because what happened next would prove that Taylor Swift's greatest enemy wasn't Kanye West, or the critics, or even her own past. It was the very industry that created her. And the war that followed would make everything you've seen so far look like a gentle disagreement. The snake era and resurrection. 2016, the year Taylor Swift learned that fame could be weaponized against you by people who were supposed to be your peers. What started as a private phone call will become the most sophisticated character assassination in modern celebrity history. The world watched as carefully edited footage painted her as a liar, a manipulator, a snake. The hashtag Taylor Swift is over party trended worldwide. For the first time in her career, the narrative had slipped from her control. The girl who had mastered public opinion found herself drowning in it. So she did something unprecedented. She vanished. For over a year, the most visible celebrity in the world became a ghost. No interviews, no appearances, no social media. The silence was deafening. Her critics celebrated. Her enemies believed they had won. But behind the silence, something was brewing. In the shadows, Taylor Swift was crafting her most deliberate artistic statement yet. An album that would serve as both confession and declaration of war. Reputation arrived in 2017 like a midnight strike. Gone was any pretense of sweetness or innocence. This was Taylor Swift, weaponized. Every song was a calculated assault on her critics, a reclamation of her narrative, a demonstration that she had not just survived the assassination attempt. She had evolved because of it. The Reputation Stadium tour became the highest-grossing tour in U.S. history. Every night, she performed in front of massive snake visuals, turning the symbol meant to destroy her into a crown. The message was unmistakable. You tried to kill me, and you only made me stronger. But what came next would prove that Taylor Swift's greatest power wasn't in darkness. It was in her ability to control light and shadow with equal mastery. 2019, Taylor Swift had everything. Artistic credibility, commercial success, a devoted fan base that treated her like a deity. But behind the glittering success, a different kind of war was brewing. One that would make every previous battle look like child's play. Scott Borchetta, the man who discovered her, who built big machine records around her talent, who she trusted like family. For 13, what the industry didn't expect was Taylor's response. Instead of fighting in boardrooms and courthouses like a traditional victim, she chose a different battlefield. She would re-record everything. Every song, every memory, every moment of her career would be reclaimed, rewritten, and re-released. Fearless, Taylor's version, dropped in 2021 like a masterclass in artistic revenge. This wasn't just about music ownership. This was about rewriting history itself. And the message was clear. You can steal my work, but you cannot steal my voice. You can own my past, but you cannot control my future. The Billion-Dollar Empress. 2023, the Eras Tour. What started as a concert series became a cultural phenomenon, an economic force, and a testament to power in its purest form. But behind the spectacle was something more profound, the final transformation of Taylor Swift from artist to empire. The ticket sales broke the internet. Literally. Ticketmaster's entire system collapsed under the demand. Fans waited in digital queues for hours, sometimes days, just for the chance to witness history. This wasn't just demand. This was devotion bordering on worship. Cities competed to host her. Entire economies shifted around her arrival. Hotels booked solid for months. Airlines added flights. Local businesses prepared for what economists started calling the Swift effect. This wasn't just a tour. This was a demonstration of influence that most world leaders could only dream of. But what the public didn't see was a meticulous planning behind every moment. Every song choice represented a decade of her life. Every costume change told a story. Every choreographed moment was a chapter in her narrative. The Eras Tour wasn't just a celebration of her music. It was a declaration of survival, proof that the girl who was humiliated on that VMA stage had not just survived, she had transcended. When Forbes announced she had achieved billionaire status through music alone, not through business ventures or investments, but through her art, it wasn't just a financial milestone. It was vindication. Every critic who dismissed her as manufactured, every executive who underestimated her, every person who thought they could control her narrative had to watch as she built an empire with her own hands. Because what they never understood was that Taylor Swift's true power wasn't her voice, or her songwriting, or even her business acumen. It was in her ability to transform pain into purpose, betrayal into strength, and setbacks into comebacks that inspired millions to do the same. The legacy, from that 13-year-old girl with a guitar in rural Pennsylvania to the most powerful figure in modern music. Taylor Swift's journey reads like mythology. But this isn't the story of someone who got lucky or someone who was manufactured by the industry. This is the story of someone who looked at every obstacle as an opportunity, every betrayal as a lesson, and every setback as set up for a comeback. She didn't just survive the music industry. She rewrote its rules, redefined its power structures, and proved that the artist could be more powerful than the system itself. Today, her endorsement can shift elections. Her tour dates can crash entire websites. Her business decisions influence stock markets. She has transcended music to become something unprecedented, a cultural force that operates by her own rules, answerable to no one but her audience. But perhaps the most remarkable thing about Taylor Swift isn't her success, it's her method. In an industry built on exploitation, she created empowerment. In a system designed to control artists, she demonstrated liberation. In a world that tried to silence her, she taught millions to find their voice. As she continues to break records, redefine artistry, and influence culture on a global scale, one thing is certain. We're not just witnessing a career. We're witnessing the creation of a legend who proved that the most dangerous thing you can do to someone with nothing left to lose is underestimate their capacity for reinvention. Because Taylor Swift's story is far from over. Hit subscribe and join us as we follow what's next.
This is a song I wrote yesterday, and it's about a girl who's just different. And I really like it because it's just so happy. So this is called Lucky You. There's a little girl